Oh, well, hello, my beautiful besties of the Maverick Nation. Bruskis and Bruskis of the Maverick Nation. I am the Dark Shadow Maverick. And welcome to yet another What If, and there's even going to be another one after this because I just can't seem to make up my damn mind. Plus, just recently figured out about this ship. The ship that I'm talking about is going to be the main focus of the second one I'm doing. Not this one. No, this one's going to be less ship-oriented and and more Shonen Jump protagonist oriented. This is basically what if Izuku had a Shonen Jump protagonist quirk, or just a Shonen Jump quirk. Either name can suffice. I mean, whatever I put down, you can either choose to call it Shonen Jump protagonist or just Shonen Jump quirk. Either way, it's going to be a quirk, what he's going to be able to do. Basically, this is based off of some actual art. This whole entire What If is based off some art. And I do not know who did it. But it has... Oh, honestly, Izuku, because this is a My Hero Academia What If. But it also has Goku, Naruto, Luffy, Ichigo, Gon, and Saitama. Yes, that's right. All of their powers. However, like, he isn't automatically going to start off, like, at their top power level. Like, he isn't going to have Ultra Instinct, like Goku's power. He's going to be, like, more like Dragon Ball Goku. Like, the early stages of Dragon Ball. And same thing with Naruto, and Luffy, and Gon, and Saitama. Well, Saitama is called One Punch Man for a reason. All he needs is one punch to kill you. Neither that or just defeat you. I guess he could just choose if he wanted to or not. And, well, same would also go for Ichigo as well. He would have their powers, but he would start out at, like, their basic level. He wouldn't start out at the most OP, like, where they are currently. He would start out at, like, the base. So, like, the beginning of Dragon Ball Goku. So, like, yeah, basically, I believe it was called the Emperor Pilaf Saga. That Goku. And if you know how strong Goku was, like Emperor Pilaf Saga, I guess we could go Emperor Pilaf Saga to, like, 21st World Martial Arts Tournament Saga. So basically, like around that time period, because that was around the time where Goku first met Krillin, and Yamcha basically got the whole gang up together. And as for, like, I talked about Goku, but how about Naruto, Ichigo, Gon, Saitama, Luffy? I'm just gonna say right now, Luffy, none of his gears. And I'm debating whether even to, like, have him dabble in hockey. I'm kind of wanting to dial it down a lot whenever he first starts out, so that we can actually make this a little bit of a lengthy series, and we can get into the meat and potatoes later on. And, well, basically that's Goku. Naruto basically is going to be beginning of part 1. Naruto. Which, freaking part 1 Naruto can use like 2,000 shadow clones, so I think he's good. So, yeah. Oh, and guys, if you're wondering, seeing as Naruto had Kurama, am I going to give Izuku Kurama? Yes, but it's gonna be like you hit the universal reset button on Kurama's character development, because basically Kurama's not going to want to share a lot of the chakra at first, and even whenever he does, it's really hard for Izuku to freaking control. And, well, that's 3 down. Now, Gon, Saitama, and Ichigo. Gon basically has the whole Nen thing, like Ken, rock, paper, scissors. Basically, Ken, rock, paper, and scissors. You would basically have the basic Ken, from what I know of. And if I have to pick a specific one because there's no basic Ken, I guess he'll start out with rock. But that just seems like the most basic one to me. That's why I say he'll just start out with rock. So yeah, that's him starting out. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. And now for Saitama. Basically, I've always considered Saitama to not have a weakest level. Like, for him always to just be the One Punch Man. So, like, I guess I'd make the one punching more situational. Like, the one thing I think would be pretty freaking awesome is, like, whenever, like, it's like those situations and, like, the enemy fight scenes where, like, I'm holding on to my arm because it's broken. And, like, they got all of his shirt torn and, like, bloodied up and everything. that's whenever you'll go for like the death. Like literally like the serious punch, as he calls it. Yeah. I'm only gonna make that as a as a last ditch effort move. Because whenever Izuku figures out that the serious punch, you know, the death punch, basically whenever he figures out that that thing can kill, because, you know, death, that the serious punch has the possibility to wreck shit so hard it's not even funny anymore, he will regulate that shit to a, basically, he won't use the serious punch a lot. Like, he'll still, like, Saitama punch, but he won't go serious punch. At least not unless he sees it absolutely necessary that he has to use a serious punch. And so basically, yes, he won't use a serious punch unless it's absolutely necessary. Or, well, he finds it absolutely necessary. After all, it is his power. And, well, I think Goku, I explained. Beginning of Dragon Ball. And Naruto, beginning of part 1. Gon, I explained only, like, junk and, like, frickin' rock. If there was no, like, basic junk, and it would be, like, junk and rock, which would be the one you would know. And, I think I have to look at the art again. Okay, we got Goku, Naruto. Oh yeah, Luffy. Basically, no gears, not even any hockey. Just Luffy before any of that. Basically, what Luffy was before any of that. So just his Devil Fruit powers regularly. However, due to the whole chakra water walking thing, Izuku won't have to worry about drowning because of the whole Devil Fruit power. Because chakra water walking. And plus, Goku characters like Goku, sweet baby Jesus, sweet baby Ray's barbecue sauce. Anyways, thanks to characters like Goku, eventually learned how to fly, and he even knew how to like levitate with his tail, like Tails, my favorite Sonic character. Thanks to things like that, basically, Izuku won't really have to worry about the whole Devil Fruit weakness of drowning. So, yeah, that is unless he gets his ass kicked to the point where he can't do either of those things. However, I think I've pretty much said everyone except for one last person. Ichigo Kurosaki himself. The Substitute Soul Reaper. And about the Substitute Soul Reaper. Basically, the Soul Society arc is where I'm gonna stop Ichigo here. Yeah, basically the beginning strength for, you know, uh, Izuku, basically, the part of him like Ichigo power is basically going to be his power that he was at, during the freaking Soul Society arc. And for those of you guys that are wondering, is he going to have a hollow side then? And is he going to have a Quincy side? A Shinigami side and all that shit? Everything that freaking Ichigo, all of his different sides, is going to be something that is part of Izuku. Because Kurama from Naruto is gonna be in this. Oh shit. Like, you really didn't think I was going to forget that, did you? So, you guys might be wondering, well, how exactly am I going to do this? Like, how exactly do you plan to do this, Dark Shadow Maverick? Well, quite simply, I don't know what any other way to say it, but then, whenever Izuku is born, well, he is born. He looks like his normal self. And pretty much behaves like his normal self. Like in canon would. A canny normal baby. And, well, so Inko and Sashi just, eventually get to take him home. However, it would be that day in which the first act of Izuku's quirk would show something that the Midoriyas were not prepared for. The Ozaru, or Great Ape, transformation. Yes, turns out, one thing different, about this little canon Izuku here, was one with a tail. And they just figured it was probably like a mutation quirk. Well, they were right and wrong at the same time. It, of course, mutated him, but was a lot more than what they had initially thought. Like everybody had initially thought. And, of course, seeing as Izuku is just a little babby, he's going to be in a berserker rage whenever he freaking turns into the Ozaru. And he even shoots basically a mouth blast, like beam thing, and like destroys most of the surrounding area. And like in the midst of everything, Inko and Sashi, basically Inko's trying to find a way to calm Izuku down and get him out of this. And Sashi is trying to help anyone who might have been, their lives put in jeopardy because of this craziness. However, that ends up getting him basically Grandpa Gohan. Grandpa Gohan to death. Yes, he gets squatted, like splatted, like stepped on. Yeah. Zelenko would just be crying, seeing her dead husband, and this crying would almost act like a catalyst for something to bring Izuku's humanity back. And so, once Zenko had finally realized that Izuku was back, she would want to remove the tail, but she would realize whenever she would grab it, Izuku wouldn't look too hot. And she would eventually deduce that anytime that anyone grabs his tail is going to drain him completely of his power. And it's gonna hurt. Because it looked like it hurt. However, seeing as there's like that thing about the tail, and honestly the tail grew with the rest of the body, and the tail is an oddity concerning most humans, unless they have a mutation quirk, don't have tails. As I said, most. Besides Ojiro. Anyways, basically, she just connects the dots and is like, the tail is related to his ability to turn into that giant monkey. But he was also looking at something. He was looking... Oh my. It was a full moon. Basically, Inko was like... He was looking at the full moon before he transformed. His eyes went all red. And basically, when Berserker mode, complete transformation, Ozaru form. So she connects all the dots. Tail, full moon, and giant monkey transformation. And this all has some sort of interconnection with my son. Oh boy. Well, I guess I know what exactly to do with you if we ever come across another full moon. Make sure that all the windows are closed and that I never have to take you outside for anything during the night. And, well, during, the next couple of, years, Mitsuki agrees to keep this hush-hush, with Inko, seeing as they are indeed friends. And besides, Izuku's just a baby, he didn't really know what he was doing. It's just weird that his quirk, basically turns him into a freaking giant monkey whenever he looks at the full moon. And also has something to do with his freaking tail, apparently. That's what Inko's freaking deducing. And so it's either nuke the moon or chop off the tail. However, another thing that is told Mitsuki, basically, anytime the tail is touched, even just a little, it'll start to, grasp grasped on even just a little will start to lose power, and it actually looks like it hurts. So, yeah, it does not look like he feels a very pleasant feeling whenever that happens. So, just generally, he looks weaker whenever his tail is grabbed. And there's even been some experiments done where Inko's, had a little thing around his tail, and, well, this was around the time whenever he was able to walk. Walk fairly good enough. And basically she would wrap something around his tail, and it would kind of cut off the circulation in between tail and the rest of the body. And this would cause his balance to go completely kaput. And that's another thing Inko would figure out about. Without the tail, or at least without, the actual thing of the tail being there with the rest of the body, his balance is pretty shit. Izuku's. And this is around the time that they're going to the quirk doctor. Yanko's pretty sure she already knows what the quirk should be named. She had heard legends about terrifying monsters that were actually just humanoid beings that could transform into said monsters in order to gain a power boost, somewhat like 10 times their normal power. And, well, another thing about these people who could transform into these terrifying monsters is that they really liked to fight. And if they weren't fighting, they were just training themselves. And, they kind of brutes. And, well, from the description that Inko is getting of the creatures that these people could transform into, all very similar descriptions. Exactly what Izuku transformed into. And apparently these people were known as Saiyans. Inko is worried now. Why is the quirk of her son a transformation that only this Saiyan race could undergo? Like, last time she checked, she didn't marry an alien. That's what pretty much she knows Saiyans to be, aliens. Or at least when there were still Saiyans around. And Mitsuki's just like... She's just like, wow, shit. You said he shot a mouth beam blast thing? And Inko's like, several. Actually, several. Though it seems my little Izuku has a lot more humanity in him than Saiyan. Because whenever he saw me crying, he turned back. And, well, Mitsuki's like, wow, okay. Basically, Izuku and Bakugo still become friends, but it's not for the same reasons that you would think. Of course, they both love heroes, but the reason why Bakugo is friends with Izuku is actually a pretty personal reason. Basically, the transformation and the 10 times, thing that it does to, like, the power of, the person who transforms it into the transformation, known as the Ozoru, or Great Ape. Basically, excuse me, that's not the only power that Izuku has. He can also see ghosts. And for some reason, any time that he has ever been in water, even baths, it hasn't exactly ended well. And so there's just so many things that Inko's like, what the hell? What even is my son's quirk? Because basically, Izuku's told her that he can see ghosts. Like, legit, that he can see ghosts. Like, some science BS. Like, not science, like, Sixth Sense. Some Sixth Sense BS. Like, I see dead people. Why did I say that like Hannibal Lecter? Like lung cancer. Freaking leukemia. Jesus. Basically, Inko hearing that apparently Izuku can see dead people. And he's given very specific descriptions of what these dead people look like. And, Inko does some research, and the people that Izuku's like saying, you can not only see them, but he can hear them. And the shit that, Inko hears, whenever she actually looks up to see if it's true, damn straight it is. Inko's like, okay, so my son really can see dead people. Not only that, but he can turn into a giant freaking monkey. And what the hell is this with him in freaking water? Like, drinking it is okay, but everything else to do with water, like, he freaking folds. And, well, it would just be one day. Alright, I'm about to get to the whole Bakugo friendship thing. But, first I have to establish this. Little thread here. One day it would just be, Inko, and basically she would have one of those, like, freaking, I don't know if it's like plastic, like, blow up animals, like floaty things that you put around children that can't swim so that they'll float in the water. Basically, they're at the pool, and that's exactly what Inko is doing. But Izuku turns out, because of the fact that he knows what sunburn is, and he's not liking the sound of that, like the sound of sunburn, what it would do to him. So he puts on way too much and ends up slipping straight through the floaty. And Inko's like, whoa! And she's just like, she just notices that, well, she's able to get Izuku out, but she noticed that Izuku dropped like a freaking brick. Like, he was weak at freaking AF. Like, he could not do jack shit. And, it was just like, it was like the Roadrunner. Meep, meep. So, basically, another thing that Inko learns is basically anything above, like, I believe his ankles in water, he is going to just flop on deck like a fish, SpongeBob SquarePants. So yeah, basically he's gonna fold anything above his ankles in water. It's not seawater, it's just water in general for Izuku. Yeah, anything above his ankles, he's just gonna fold. He just can't. And I guess, yeah, that's it for. Well, I guess also another thing to be noted. I guess like three more things to be noted is that one, Izuku doesn't exactly just seem to give a shit what people think about him. Really, more or less a blasé nature to like any sort of negative comment about him. And rarely ever gets serious, but whenever he does, he can cause a real mess. And the second thing out of the three things I'll mention, well, he has quite the obsession with the game rock, paper, scissors. He really likes to play it. Even if, seeing as his mom isn't always there to play it with him, like, he'll just be playing it by himself. Or playing it with one of his ghost friends. Which, Inko's just like, good God, another one? There's like another ghost in our house? How many ghosts are gonna be in our house? Are they attracted to him? He's like a ghost magnet? And the third thing being, well, how do I put this? Basically, he has animalistic features. Whiskers, and, let's just say the canines, his canine teeth, are a lot more accented. Not a lot more, but definitely noticeably a little bit more accented and sharp than most people's canines. And he does indeed seem to have, like I said again, whiskers. Though they're not very long and not very noticeable unless you're actually, taking a look. It only ever seems to really change whenever Izuku gets angry. Like, visibly pissed. And sometimes whenever that happens, his eyes will actually turn red instead of their normal, usual emerald green. And whenever his eyes turn red, there's even a chance that you can see a red aura emanating from him. And even out from his back, forming what looks to be a tail. Yes, the one-tail cloak. It's just one tail, but it's still a tail. Yes, but that's only if he gets, like, super uber pissed. And, like, if he gets super uber pissed, like, his canines will get even more accented and, like, sharp. And they'll start to actually grow out a little bit more and more. And his whiskers will definitely start to show more. And people often wonder, like, dude has a tail and whiskers. And, like, apparently, whenever it's a full moon out, he's not allowed to, like, look out into the night sky. And he's not even allowed to go out whenever it's, like, nighttime. It's like people in, like preschool class, like kindergarten, preschool, kindergarten, would be, like, gossiping about Izuku, like, about how weird he is. And he's even gotten himself a sword, like a liking to swords as well. A special sword that just so happened to appear whenever Izuku was focusing in deep meditation one time. Inko wondering where he learned to meditate. And Izuku just like, I was thinking about it, and so I did it. And this happened. Pointing down to the sword on the ground. And, well, whenever Izuku would pick it up, he would hear a name. Kubo. And then he would hear a voice say, that is the name of his... Basically, that is the name of the Zanpakuto. And so, actually, if I want this to be all powers, I was going to have his Zanpakuto be named Kubo because Tite Kubo, the creator of Bleach, I thought that'd be something really clever, but if these are going to be all powers from these different characters, let's have him have Zangetsu. Like, I mean, come on, we're gonna have him have the Shinigami side, which is mixed with the Hollow, and so we have to have, like, the Quincy side, too, and if we're gonna have that, all of that, we gotta have him have Zangetsu. Or as the Japanese freaking people say, Zangetsu. Or Tensa Zangetsu, or Tensa Zangetsu. Yes, the Japanese have a very interesting way of pronouncing Zangetsu. I didn't say anything bad, I just said that it was interesting. So I guess, yes, Izuku would indeed hear that. However, it was only one half of his Zanpakuto. The half that he had in his hands was apparently the Quincy half. And yeah, it really wasn't much of a sword, but that's the closest thing that Inko could compare it to. And, well, Izuku would start to meditate again, and then out would come the Shinigami half of Tensa Zangetsu. And I know what you guys are thinking, that's Ichigo's Bankai. Basically, yeah, that's basically what his Zanpakuto thing is gonna tell him. This is the Bankai. It kind of has to be reset because the ridiculous amount of like Reiatsu, kind of like with Shinigami, like if Shinigamis didn't know how to compress their Reiatsu, like of their Zanpakuto, their spiritual pressure of their Zanpakuto, they'd be the size of skyscrapers. So that's basically what's gonna have to happen now if like Zangetsu isn't supposed to like explode in size. And Izuku understands and he's like, well, and they're like, well, you are the king. And Izuku's like, well, I now relinquish my role as king for the moment, so that you may return to normal. And so, basically, Zangetsu turns back into the basic normal state, which has all the tape around it. And yes, Izuku will get to use the Shikai and the Bankai, like the several freaking Bankais, actually. A freaking... I'm more or less just like the general freaking Bankai, and then like the two different ones that actually make up the real Tensuzangetsu. But we are nowhere near Tensuzangetsu yet, buddies and buddies. We are nowhere near Tensuzangetsu. Basically, Izuku's been hanging around with Zangetsu ever since, because apparently what Izuku says is, Zangetsu told him that basically it's sort of the thing in the manga where it's like, the blade is me. He sort of kind of has to, like, describe that out to Inko so she can kind of understand why he has to keep Zangetsu. Because technically, Zangetsu is him now. It's no longer Ichigo. Well, it's Ichigo, but it's also him at the same time. Which is gonna get really weird. So, yeah. Basically, with all this knowledge, basically, Izuku and Bakugo don't start becoming friends until there's one day where Izuku and Bakugo are just out in the middle of the freaking forest, and it's kind of like that one scene in Homeward Bound where, like, Sassy's on the log and she's like, she won't, she won't, she won't, she won't. It's basically like they kind of have to traverse like a big gap, and the first time around it was perfectly fine. The log was perfectly sturdy. The second time around, Izuku's able to make it over perfectly fine. However, Bakugo, this is like the second time they've been going around, and so finally whenever Bakugo is trying to cross, and by now he has indeed, gained his quirk. Bakugo has. And, well, they're just now getting introduced to each other. Bakugo's been told about how apparently Izuku has all sorts of different abilities. And, well, basically, if you know about Homeward Bound, you know what's going to happen. Crack. Like, snap. And, well, Bakugo just goes straight down the waterfall. And Izuku's like, shit. Basically, Izuku's like, what the hell do I do? And then all of a sudden, flash step. Boom. Like Shunpo. I like saying Shunpo more than flash step. Basically, just Shunpo's over there at like freaking redonkulous speeds, really. Just redonkulous speeds. I mean, even the Soul Society arc, Ichigo, was pretty freaking OG. It was pretty freaking GG no Ri and everybody in his house. So, you gotta expect the freaking Shunpo of Ichigo Kurosaki Soul Society arc to be freaking nuts. Like his Shunpo. Yeah. Just ridiculous speed. And, well, if it's Shunpo, then we also gotta have that foothold of Reiatsu type thing. Basically, walking on air. And, well, yeah, there's that. Basically, Bakugo's like, whoa! Izuku, you didn't tell me you could fly? And Izuku would just correct him and be like, walking on air, actually. I'm creating footholds with my Reiatsu. Oh, and how exactly I got over there so fast? It's called Shunpo. It's also known as Flash Step, but I like to call it Shunpo. And Bakugo's just like, oh. What do you even call your quirk, Izuku? You have so many different crazy powers. And, well, Izuku has given thought to the name and has decided Shonen. And Bakugo's like, Shonen? And Izuku's just like, yeah, Shonen. Basically, I have a lot of different powers, yeah. You don't know the half of it, Katsuki. You don't know the half of it, Kachan. So, now what? Basically, this is what gives Bakugo the incentive to want to be Izuku's friend, because, you know, he saved his life. So, yeah, basically, yeah, that. Whenever it comes to things like, well, middle school, it would come around that point. Mako would have gotten himself his own little ego with explosions. It's just like popping off explosions, constantly trying to assert his dominance. And Izuku would just be like, Ah, Kachan, you really don't have to do that. But since you insist, I guess. Gah, bam! It's like Rubber Man power. So yeah, just deck, deck Bakugo in the jaw, like right in between the cheek and the jaw. Just deck him right there. Just rock his world with one of that Rubberman style punches. Luffy just like reel it back and bam, just like right into the boom. And well, after his boys would run scared, well the other boys were unscared. The kid who Bakugo was bullying would thank Izuku, and Izuku would be like, no problem. Kachan's just a little bit power obsessed. I think he's beginning to forget someone, possibly an elephant in the room. Or should I say, Ozaru in the room. Yes, doing the research, they figured out that, it's the Ozaru. That's the transformation. And whenever Bakugo hears about the Ozaru, he's like, shit, nope. Beep this shit, I'm out. Beep this shit, I'm out. So, yeah. Well, basically, yeah. Izuku will be going home, and he would go through the tunnel, and a sludge villain would try to attack him. The sludge villain obviously not getting too much success, because before All Might can even, successfully land a freaking Texas Smash, all of a sudden he hears, now. Just get the glove on. It's time. And then just glove off. Throw it like Dwayne would throw his freaking, elbow pad. He would just unfasten the glove, and he would be like, ugh. just like the freaking Rock whenever he does the people's elbow. But with that, it's his elbow pad. With this, it's his glove. And basically, whenever he takes the glove off, that's whenever you know. And you know what else will let you know? Basically, whenever Izuku's about to use his serious punch, he says, death. And it's like, BAM! And you basically, All Might and Izuku still end up cleaning up the sludge villain, but this time, he's not really going to be feeling too hot. And All Might just having witnessed, the freaking serious punch, and now, Izuku's, fastening back on his glove. And he's like, sorry you had to see my serious punch there, All Might. And, well, seeing as the sled villain just got serious punched. Actually, no, let's just say he just got one Punch Man punched. He just got one Punch Man punched. but still was able to knock him out, like bamboozle him. Like, Saitama has that workout regimen that makes him ridiculously overpowered. And, well, so you guys might be wondering, well, where are you going to use the serious punch? Well, obviously, Izuku, with all these different powers, would feel kind of like a freak. So you would be wondering, like, even someone like me, can someone like me become a hero? Someone like a freak? And I was like, well, where do you get an idea like that? You're not a freak. It was probably one of the best ways of taking care of a villain quick, fast, and in a hurry I've seen in a long time. And Izuku's like, so you think I can... And Almost like... Hmm? And Izuku would be like, yes! And All Might would be like, oh, and before you ask, I autographed your notebook. And you'd just be like, double yes! Like, it'd just be like the anime girl thing, like, wow! It would just be like, kawaii-ness, like kawaii-desu. So, yeah. Basically, well, because of what happened, I did end up dropping the sludge villain, and so some explosions are let off, and Izuku's like, automatically knows he can sense the spiritual pressure. He's like, that's Bakugo. And he just like, Shunpo, bam! And he's automatically there, and he sees that the sludge villain is using Bakugo as a hostage. And Izuku's like, Jesus, Bakugo, you couldn't have hung in there for at least a few more seconds? I'm gonna have to do this the hard way. And he just be like, basically, just be like, ah, Zongetsu. That's better. Basically, just be like, Shika. Zangetsu. He'd just be holding out a Zangetsu. He'd just be like, Kitsuga Tensho! And just be like, some crazy insane shit. And as it gets to Tensho, will just cut Bakugo out from the sludge villain And the sludge villain would be like, "What the f was that? Ow! Whoever did that was an asshole." And Izuku's just like, "No, my friend, I do indeed believe you're the asshole." Me. Ha. Me. Ha. It would just blast out freaking Kamehameha wave. And the sludge villain would be toasted. Roasted, toasted. Gino Restyle. And, well, Baka would just be like, "Oh shit. Alright. Oh crap. Jesus." Basically, just like in canon, both of them are signed up to take the UA entrance exam. And after just seeing what Izuku just did there to the sludge villain, Bakugo was like, "I don't know if I want to take the entrance exam anymore." And after seeing what Izuku did to the sludge villain, All Might is like, "Oh shit. One's back at it again, isn't he?" He's just thinking, this dude has multiple freaking powers. Yeah, All for One's back at it again, for sure. And, well, Izuku would just be like, doing his thing. However, something that would stray off from the normal canon is that, well, the massive, output of power that, was released whenever he released the Kamehameha wave, it kind of caused a lot of things in outer space to go shaky. And, like, off course, even. Then you would basically see, like, a meteor the size of the one in Final Fantasy VII come down and almost about to kill everyone. And then Izuku was just like, "Really? It scares you guys. Okay. Whatever." Just taking off the glove, throwing it. I was like, boom! Death! He's like taking off the glove. And Almighty's like wondering, like, what's he doing? And he just throws it. And he's just like, death. Boom! And he punches the meteorite. And the meteorite turns into a giant fiery ball of explosive energy. And the only thing left after that is, well, a very pissed off freaking looking Izuku. You guys know whenever he gets pissed off, got the red eyes, he got the sharpened canines, he got the more defined whiskers, and he just overall got that tail cloak. And, Izuku would just get on all his force and just like claws would protrude out like he'd get out on his force and like stretch out. Be like just like he'd be like freaking pissed. Cause he didn't like the fiery explosion that he just got dealt. Yeah. And now, basically, Bakugo ends up having to defuse the situation himself. Basically. Bakugo just ends up being able to calm Izuku down without using any violence. Because, he's familiar with Bakugo. Izuku is familiar with Bakugo, and so he feels like, safer, calmer around Bakugo. And so the cloak kind of dies down, and so do all of his accented features, like the claws, the canines, the whiskers. All of his accented features, start to die down. And he's still only at the one-tail cloak. He didn't go all the way to the two-tail cloak. No, he's still only at the one-tail. Even whenever making Izuku go berserk, Kurama still doesn't like sharing chakra with him. He admits he liked Naruto better. And, well, something that unsettles Izuku and Kurama both is that basically a voice saying, well, if you're not gonna help the kid, well, I think you both know it would be bad for me if he died. Technically, it would be bad for both of us if he died. King. Just hearing that voice in the back of his head, Izuku would be like, Bakugo? Where am I? And basically, he'd also realized that All Might was also there because about the time that Bakugo was able to calm him down, All Might, out of panic, aimed a frickin' Detroit smash at his face. And, well, you see a hollow mask, a whole hollow mask, fall from Izuku's face, yet it does not shatter, even though that's where he was hit. Or, well, where he would have been hit, had it not been for the hollow inside's quick reflexes, jumping straight out right as soon as Kurama cloak thing was deactivated. So that's why they were hearing the voice. It would be bad for the both of us if you died, King. And, well, searching up on, some of the Zanpakuto stuff, he thinks he knows what he's dealing with. This is some sort of hollow. And it's apparently a part of him. And, well, it basically created the hollow mask as something of protection, just to make sure that Detroit Smash did not kill him. Because he was going out of the tail cloak, so he would need something else to protect him. And so the hollow basically went in there and used its power and formed a whole hollow mask. Straight for everyone to see. And, well, as soon as All Might, understands this, that Bakugo actually had the whole thing under control, All Might's kind of like, it's like, sorry, young Midoriya. And Izuku's just like, well, to be truthful with you, it would just be a long day of a very awkward string of events. And technically, Bakugo, ever since he became friends with Izuku, realizing his obsession with rock, paper, scissors, decided to indulge. And they were very young whenever they became friends. So, it's been a while. And Izuku's been able to perfect something of his own. A little something he likes to call the Jonken. Basically, he's like, rock, paper. He's like, rock, paper, scissors, Jonken, bam! Basically, in order for Izuku to get all that stress out so that the hollow didn't surface, he decided to release all of the power of the Jonken. He just decided to pull off a Jonken in front of, everyone. And, just destroy a stone pillar that was in the middle of nowhere. And the hollow would be like, damn it. It would be like, damn it. Crafty little devil. I'm trying to do his help. Since he's going to be like Kurosaki Ichigo. Be difficult with me on this one. And Izuku's like, I just don't want you killing people. Anyways, yeah. So basically, yeah, that's how things go. And towards the entrance exam, through the 10 months, basically he'd be training all of his different skills. And if you're wondering if he showed any of the Rubberman stuff off during this time, well, whenever All Might tried to hit him with the Detroit Smash, well, his face didn't really take any impact because of the hollow mask. His body kind of flubbered around a little bit, you're showing off the, Rubberman thing, the whole Rubberman element to it. And just, punching a meteor into nothing. That's the whole Saitama gig. but he had to use his serious punch. And basically, Bakugo was like, there was a reason why he had popcorn. All Might would just be like, why do you have popcorn? And he would just be watching him take off the glove. Because Bakugo's, like, he hasn't really seen the serious punch, but he's heard Deku talk about it. Like, talk about how it's an insta-kill move that he should never use unless absolutely necessary. So, basically, seeing as the meteor was going to kill everyone, he decided that, now was absolutely necessary. And so he just decided to take the glove off, and reel back for a serious punch. Death. I just love that. So, yeah. Basically, over the 10 months, all of these different skills, all of these different traits would be worked on. So, yeah. And even in the fact that Izuku was able to tell that the meteor was coming towards them before anyone else was able to tell, that shows he was using a slight bit of what could be somewhat of a precursor to Ultra Instinct. Because he's been evolving, slowly but surely evolving, and though he hasn't really dabbled into like any sort of Super Saiyan power, like Ultra Instinct is just the most pure, like, best form of martial art. It's like a martial artist at his peak is the only person who can, like, master the Ultra Instinct. And so, with that, well, it's not exactly to say like he hasn't entered tiny little sparks of Ultra Instinct, considering it's still a part of Goku. It's just something that he can't really transform into. He can't even access Omen, really. He can only, like, access it in, like little spurts. Like, basically how he was able to tell about the meteor. And there was also basically how he was able to tell about the sludge villain. That wasn't Ultra Instinct. That was actually, well, a slight spurt of a type of hockey. Observation hockey. So, here we have Izuku accessing slight spurts of things that he's accessed slight spurts of before. Hockey and, no, specifically observation hockey, and Ultra Instinct. Observation hockey to detect the sludge villain, and Ultra Instinct to detect the meteorite. And the meteorite was all the way in outer space whenever you detected it. So, yeah, that was, even though it was just a spurt, it was a pretty marvelous spurt, if I don't say so myself. So, yeah. And, these spurts don't really happen all that often. Like, he has to build up to these stronger forms. And the Ultra Instinct is only really there because of the fact that he has any martial arts in him. Plus, the whole Goku thing. And Goku having not only Ultra Instinct Omen, but also Ultra Instinct Mastered. So yeah, I guess you guys were wondering how exactly is he going to get Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3, like Super Saiyan 4 maybe, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan freaking Blue. Yeah. Or Rose even? Like, would Rose count? Because technically that still was Goku in a way. I'm gonna count Rose. I'm gonna count, like, freaking Super Saiyan Rose. And for all of you guys that are gonna hate on me for counting in something from GT and counting in Rose, I don't give a shit. Like, it's still Goku. So, I don't give a shit. And I may even, like, include, like, the pseudo Super Saiyan from the Lord Slug movie. Yeah, like, pseudo Super Saiyan seems like a safe route to go before we actually get to Super Saiyan. And that's not talking about, like, all the other freaking things. Like, legit. Like, all the different tail forms. And then there's the chakra mode. And and then there's the freaking gears. And then there's Red Hawk. And I don't even know if Saitama has a way to make himself any stronger. And Gon has this freaking, like, Nen contract form thingy. My fricker. Uh, so, don't think I forgot about the Nen contract transformation. Oh no, I remember the Nen contract transformation all too well. Am I forgetting anyone? Ichigo with his, hollow, and if it gets to the point where he actually does indeed die, Vasta Lord A. Oh, Vasta Lord A will be so much fun. And, like, seeing what would actually make, like, what would actually push Izuku over the edge to go Super Saiyan, that would be pretty fun, too. So, yeah. Oh, and there's also, like, Rage Super Saiyan, but, you know, I don't really think that Goku ever had a Rage Super Saiyan, except for, like, you know, Super Saiyan, like, grade 1, maybe? Been, like, the closest thing to Rage Super Saiyan that Goku ever got, because he was, like, pure anger whenever he was in that state. So, yeah. Anything. Okay, there's the Gears, there's Red Hawk, there's different Super Saiyan forms. There's Ultra Instinct. There's Rose. Because technically, while that was Zamasu, it was also Goku because he was stealing his body. So it was still Goku. So I'm counting Rose. And you guys can't stop me. So, all the different tail transformations. And all the frickin', like, chakra mode and sage mode. Don't forget about sage mode. There's an end contract. There's like half hollow mask, whole hollow mask, Vestalorde form. Like the actual mastery over the Vestalorde form that Ichigo gets, like, in the freaking, like, fight against Yuha, like, where he actually masters the Vestalorde. I guess that's two different types of Vestalorde then? I might include that there. I don't know. Depends how balls deep we get into this venture. Or it's too late. The Quincy power is really considered a transformation. I think that's all there is. Oh, and a one frontal cowling not gonna happen because he already has way too much power. So yeah, that's kind of gonna be how things go. Well, if you guys are wondering, like, in between the time whenever he did have his tail and now did he get it cut off? Well, he thought that UA being this prestigious school, you know, I guess Izuku wasn't exactly using his brain because he thought UA being this prestigious school wouldn't accept a monkey boy. But then again, you got Ojiro. How you gonna explain that? You gonna explain Ojiro? So yeah, that was basically Izuku's idiot moment. Whenever he decided to have his tail cut off because, well, actually, that whole thing is actually a cover story for why he got his tail cut off. The actual reason is a lot more noble and a lot more, straightforward. He didn't want to do what he did to his father to anyone else. Especially now that he was getting his friend, like, Kacchan. He didn't want to step on Kacchan. So, yeah. Basically, it was more or less because he was thinking more about other people than himself. So, yeah. Izuku finally, at the age in which he would be able to participate in the entrance exam for UA, decided that same age would be the age in which he would finally decide whether or not to cut his tail off. Permanently. And thus, it has been done already for quite some time. Because Izuku's been 15 for quite some time in his story already, so yeah. Anyways, I don't think I'm this because it actually Maverick is OT out of here. Your boys, like, favorite, subscribe, some comments section. I'm a friggin' 360 no scope blaze it freaking bounce.